Guess I'll oh God. Dad asked for
I did it.
Oh, you did it?
You're good. I did it on my phone.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I said Dylan's in the shower, but I saw your message. I sent him a video.
Okay. I know, we got one person watching. Where? I don't know who it is, but we'll post the link up. Oh, that's fine. Let's see here. Hey, there's Limey. Anthony.
I'm going to say you can pin the comment.
I wonder how that works.
I'll keep it up at the top. Go back. What did that say?
Happy New Year.
What does it go back to the start thing? You can.
You can start important comments.
We were discussing during the show. Oh.
Yes, Happy New Year. Getting
first live 2024.
Yep, first live of 2024. Starting the year off week because we're not starting off. We're starting off the year right. I forgot it's January 1st.
Woo-hoo. Nothing in that, just Diet Pepsi.
With like 4,000 alcohol.
Layers of dirt.
Whatever was in it before, there's that in it now. So, what's new, Limey? Getting anything done on your SE? Or no? You should be. It's project season. Granted, you're up north, so it's cold as crud, but still, should be getting something done. Let's see. No garage. That doesn't mean you can't work on it. It just means you can't work on that outside. You got to do something else. Take a little bracket off, paint it. Stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff you got to do when you don't have a garage in the wintertime. I've also found, hey, does nothing special. What's going on, buddy? I've also found that winter or the cold months are good times to order parts. I'm going to probably dye the door panels tomorrow, my lowers. I've never dyed anything, but my interior on my car is painted with the black rattle can paint from O'Reilly's. That's meant for like interior stuff. Yeah, money does help a lot, but it grows on trees, don't you know? Not much. Been working on my shop some today. Well, that's good. Getting anything done on the shop? What exactly are you working on? I didn't do jack squat today. Except we cleaned. She says, I cleaned. Sure. Yeah, I use SEM brand paint for interior plastics. I know I'm early. Listen. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. Or if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. There you go. I got it. But good evening, Colleen. How are you? I don't have a lot to talk about. Putting up end walls. Oh, so you're doing like the actual you're building the actual building. Gotcha. Not exactly what I was thinking, but I gotcha. Need some adhesion promoter. Yeah, I don't on the interior. I literally rubbed it with Scotch-Brite, cleaned it up with some prep, like a cleaner, and then sprayed it. Worked just fine so far. I mean, it's not like the prettiest thing. I mean, I did tape everything off, but like I said, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it looks just fine to me. And it's a race car, so who cares? So, putting the end walls up. So, how exactly do you have like equipment there? Are you doing it like the old-fashioned way? Also, muffler suggestions needed. I love the sound of the race venoms, but arc. Back wall is done. Hopefully, front wall will be finished next weekend. Then I can hang the doors. Nice. Is this a one-man show, or are you or are you got helpers or a company that you're working with? Just a scaffold. Okay, I see. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I was gasket matching my 318 heads and intake. Vizard is either going to be proud or horrified. Well, if he's seen the work that I did, he'd probably be horrified. Excuse me. But back to this muffler suggestion. I'm a big fan of open headers, but I know that's not uh, allowed. It's not appropriate. So I've always been a big fan of Flowmaster 40 series mufflers. Um, what's on my red truck is a Chinese version of a Flowmaster 40, and they work and sound just the same. So I don't know what you really want tone wise, but on the highway they do have some small drone, but it's not bad. Pretty much by myself. Well, that stinks. Could be worse though. I had them on previous build and drone too much for my liking. Yeah. Well, if you do sound deadening on the floor, well, also I didn't think about that. On a car, it's kind of different. I'm in a truck, so the cab isn't connected to the bed, and then your hangers for your exhaust are connected to the frame, so that probably eliminates some of that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I would definitely run mufflers if you like not getting tickets, but headers do sound cool. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to put exhaust on my truck again. It's, however, let's see. Um, hang on. It's 8 years old, so it's starting to rust out, which is no big deal. I'm probably gonna put stainless headers on it. Hmm? Um, but I'd like to do stainless headers on it with. I don't even know what mufflers. I've seen some cool turbo mufflers that sound pretty good. I call them turbo mufflers. They got a singular inlet and outlet, and then they're usually round. They're not the chambered oval looking ones. Even though a turbo is considered a muffler, it's not not a muffler. Yeah, see, I'm not a fan of glass packs. They don't sound good enough for me. And then when they're worn out, they sound awful. There's Honestly, high school ruined glass packs for me because there was always kids putting glass packs on like stock 350 Chevys, and oh my god, they would just rev the piss out of them things, and they just don't sound good. And I'm not a guy that likes that kind of stuff. Like you need to just be like, I don't know how to explain it proper. Don't be a weirdo. Gotta go. Thought I would drop in and say hi. Gotta get up early. Happy New Year, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Hope your day tomorrow is good. I think tube size makes a difference too. I've always liked the old school Midas turbo mufflers, but I think they sound different in drone at 3 inches. Well, I think the exhaust on mine's 2 inch, I think, if I remember correctly. Which honestly is probably pretty big for a stock 350 Chevy. Well, it's got a cam, but every 350 Chevy's got a cam, I feel like. But 2.5 inch. Okay. Um, it's a big block though, ain't it? That matters. Believe it or not. I didn't realize it. Hey, Turbo Tom. What's going on? What'd you win, Colleen? Did I miss something? I could have missed something. Very, very likely that I've missed something, but very likely. But I mean, like I said, I want to do stainless headers, but at the same time, the small block that's in it is roughly, I won't say worn out, but it's overdue on a, not technically rebuild, but it's probably close. I mean, we went through it and looked at it and everything before we put it in, so like it's a good motor. It would just need rebuilt. Is it worth it? Or is it worth putting an LS in it? Oh, you want a mystery bag? That's cool. Hopefully, there's some good stuff in it. But yeah, if I was gonna do an LS, it would need to be like a 6 liter or something, so that I could haul a trailer decently. It'd have some torque and enough power to haul. A 3 out of 7 chance, pretty good odds. Hey, calculated risk is the only risk I would take. Because I'm not a risk taker. The Limey 6.2s are expensive. I can get a 6 liter for $120, basically. And I can have a harness and ECU. Honestly, if I take one out of the Cadillac, I could have a free motor and the whole harness and ECU from it. I just don't want that one, I don't think. It's got a lot of miles on it. And for something that's just going to be like a stock, you know, not us winning the Powerball has those out. Well, if the Powerball had that kind of odds, I'd probably be playing it right now. If the Powerball had 3 out of 7 chances, you bet your butt I would have a ticket. Yeah, they're expensive. They're I don't know. I'm just not a fan of them yet. Once they start coming down, once those cars start hitting the salvage yards more and more and more, that'll be when they get cheap. Which I don't know, maybe
Never.
10 years, maybe. I don't know. I see. The way I look at it is usually 10 to 15 to 20 years is the window of a truck or car's typical lifespan. Because if you look at the junkyards now, it's all stuff that was built in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then 2000, like 5, 6, 7. So that's all that stuff's in the salvage yards now. And then, so what I'm seeing though is an LKQ. Their prices must be really expensive because when I looked over there, they were like $1,300 for a 6 liter or a 5.3 LS. I'm like, I'm not paying that for an LS motor. Sorry about your luck. Not happening. My local yard sells them for, like I said, 118, 120 bucks. You know, if you take a core back, which I've always got V8 cores from something, they'll give you $50 back. So it's usually like 170 roughly after taxes and all that. And it's like, even if I spend $170 on a motor, you can't buy a motor like that for 170 bucks. You can't build one for that, I guess I should say. But they'll get affordable eventually. Everything does. I mean, especially when there's that many production numbers, they always will. Problem is with those is they have all the lifter problems, the variable valve timing and the DOD, displacement on demand, all have that. And well, I don't know if they all do. A lot of them do. They might all. I'm not sure. But that's where you get problems because now when you're going to put it in a car, you got to do all that. Whereas if I bought a 5.3 from the junkyard, I just throw it in and it's good to go for another 100,000 miles. So I don't know. I don't know how affordable the next generation of LS motors will be. We've probably got 30 or 40 years. Well, not 30. Probably 25 years. You can you can disable it, right? But you can't get rid of the lifters that are part of the displacement on demand, which the lifters are the failure. That's their here. Let's look them up because they're kind of interesting. They're a really weird design, and I don't like it whatsoever. I think it's junk. I think if you're buying a V8 for fuel mileage, you're stupid. If you're buying a 4-cylinder for fuel mileage, I understand you. That's just common sense. Let's see here. DOD lifter LS. There's a picture. Like that. Okay. Hey, Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cuda. What is up, man? We were just talking about displacement on demand right now. So, see that spring? That spring, I don't know how it works, honestly, but that spring, I guess, compresses too many times or something and breaks. I've seen them, and then they eat up a cam, and then obviously your cam is pretty important for running and driving, right? So that's just how it breaks down, basically. Hey, there's Mike's car hole. What is up, buddy? Your name's funny, and I like it. But that's basics of the displacement on demand. In the car, you can turn it off. Technically, you can turn it off, but you can't get rid of that lifter, which is going up and down in the engine every time you run the engine. So technically, no, you can't disable it completely. So if you look at that lifter, and then I'll look up a normal non-DOD lifter. Let's see here. Oh, that's a good comparison right there. Look at the difference. What would you put in your engine? The one with the weird spring that looks like it's going to break after 100,000 miles? Or the one with no spring that's going to last forever? Almost. That's just my opinion on the whole DOD thing. If you're wanting fuel economy, buy a turboed 4-cylinder or something stupid like that. Where you want the power, but you also want the fuel mileage. Just got to keep them moist. That's right. I wish that was the case because some of these motors would probably last forever then, but it's just not. A good buddy of ours does the DOD. I mean, I would do, if someone wants to do the DOD, bring the car in and everything. I can do the mechanical side of it. I can't do the ECU delete or whatever, but I think you can turn. That's for another person. I can do the actual physical part of it, but not the electrical side of it. Which I should offer that. I just don't, just because I don't like doing them. But yeah, that's why those lifters are garbage, because they have springs on them that go bad. And springs on lifters was never a good idea. Why that got past R&D does not, it doesn't really surprise me, but how it got passed, beyond me. Not sure. Right. Well, Mike, that's the whole thing. With a 4-cylinder, you're starting off with fuel economy, and then when you bring in boost, you're starting power. With a V8, you're always in that power. There's no being around it. Think about having half the power of a V8, like in a V8, in a 4-cylinder car, right? Now add boost to it to bring power back. Now you have that power, but you don't have to use all of that power all the time. Like, you're not running full boost right off of idle, right? Whereas a V8, you're getting a lot of that power even at idle. You're not the I'll explain it. The ratio is different, or is different, I guess I should say. That's probably a better way. Mine isn't fuel efficient. It should be. Some of these 4-cylinder turbos are, getting 20 miles a gallon, which is better than a V8 getting 10, is what I'm saying. We're not. You're not comparing a car that makes. Really, that's interesting. Has it got a cam or anything? Because I mean, I would love to calculate what kind of fuel mileage my car gets, because people would probably laugh, because it's probably terrible. I bet it's not even like, I think I put 50 miles on it or something like that this year. 50. 50 miles. And I've used, I think, roughly 15, 20 gallons of fuel. Let's do the math on that. It's probably more than 50 miles, but yeah, 3 miles to the gallon. Yep, Z06 cam. Interesting. It's a weird. What made you choose that cam? Just what you had, or just what you thought? 5.6. 5.6 miles a gallon, right? What would you rather get? A V was a guess. I got you. So what would you rather get? Would you rather have a V8 LS engine that's stock, NA, in a platform that gets probably 17 miles a gallon, or would you rather have a same power and be able to get 25 miles a gallon, and then when you want to, haul something, whatever that is, you're going to get worse gas mileage, but you're going to have that power when you need it? 1 mile a gallon and fast. Well, for a heavy gal, she's fast, but not fast enough, apparently. I'm just trying to. Right now is the buying parts and waiting for them because the motor. I don't know if I'll be out for March, but I'm definitely gonna try. I mean, I got other projects to work on, and it's honestly it's not my main focus because I'd like to sit down and do a lot of things right, calculate certain things, and see what I can come up with. Um, as far as that, because I want the car to run like 890s, which theoretically it would do that, but we'll see. It ought to really do it this year, but it is what it is. So Mike's car hole. What is the reason for the Z06 cam, and is it a Corvette motor? It's got a Corvette motor. I love when people say that. It's got a Corvette motor. It makes horsepower. Uh, some people's kids. I wasn't around for that, but I was told that in the 90s, if you had a Corvette motor, you were doing something cool. But 1 mile a gallon, that would be horrible. This year, well, and also that's probably not bad because I mean our fuel tables, the car runs really, really rich. Like really rich. So is it bad? Yes. Is it really that bad? Probably not because it's saving the motor. I'd love to be able to get on a data log and show you a lot of the stuff live. I think that would be helpful for a lot of people to see really what the engine is doing while you're making a pass, seeing actual stress on the motor and what it's doing to compensate for that stress. It's pretty much your engine is having a stroke or a heart attack going down track, and you're just pumping things in it to try and make it not ignite and blow up, basically. Which is a horrible way of thinking about making a motor run, but it's really what it is. You're pretty much making it survive, trying to make it survive. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes mechanically it doesn't work. Usually, the tune's usually pretty spot on. I mean, I typically, like when we go do a dyno session, I try and not stray away from that too much because usually it's pretty accurate, which I don't know if I've strayed anyway. I mean, like I said, it's usually pretty accurate, and you know, it is what it is. But we got 6 people watching and nobody commenting. What's up with this? Why are we not commenting? I need to have some conversation with some people. I don't know who you are, but comment. I mean, comment, like, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube algorithm BS. At least that's what they tell me to say. Here, have this again. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but yeah, okay. I can have up to 10 people in here, and I got one. Me. We're listening. Okay, that's good. You're listening to me ramble about my car. I don't know if you want to do that or not. If I got more people commenting, I can do a shirt giveaway, but I only got. Granted, it's a large. It's made in Mexico. It's 100% cotton. So, you mentioned data logging. Do you have a data logger? I do. So, on the ECU in my car, it will do it on its own. So, the ECU takes care of that. And basically, it's a little. Where is that? I may not have one here. Anyway, if you know what an SD card looks like the little square SD cards, that pops in the screen, like my display for my oil pressure and all that, the little screen, and then your data goes from your ECU to that, and then you pull that out, put it in your computer, and you can read the data log and stuff. So I'm using the Holley Terminator X. I think it's $1,260 roughly. I mean, taxes and all that. I'm not sure. It depends where you're from or how that works. But considering making my own using an Arduino, what is that? I'm honestly curious. Arduino. This ought to be interesting. Hang on a second. Let's see here. Present. Share screen. Is that what you're talking about? Is a single board computer. Like, okay. Like that? Oh, you can't see that. Hang on. Let's see. Present. Share screen. That thing? Okay, so let's say you were to do that, and I'm not telling you not to. How? Okay, now you're answering my questions before I ask them. That's good. It can have up to 16 analog inputs and 54 digital inputs. Okay. So now my question is, what would be your software to... So what would be your software to get it from that computer to, let's say, a computer to see the graphs and all that? I think this is a wonderful DIY idea. I don't know if it's feasible for the average person, but there's someone smart enough out there to do that. I mean, probably you take enough time, you could probably do it, but I mean, it's basically all an ECU is a computer board, right? But if we're going down this rabbit hole, what would it cost to do all that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other data loggers out there. If you do a cost comparison, wonder what it would be. That would be Scarlett. What would it? Y'all, he's smart. I believe that. I mean, he owns a CUDA. You gotta be pretty smart to own a CUDA. Why do you think I own? I own the trailer trash Laguna. I'm not high class enough for that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm interested in it. I think that would make a really interesting way to build something. But if this is true, it's only $7. What? How well is it built? I don't know. Guess it could be an interesting way to compute data into a computer. If you could do it and use an existing program that already is out there, that right there would be your money. Because then you could wire boards up and you could sell that, and that would pay for your Oh, hey, Scarlett, how are you?
Doing good. Let me mute the other side.
It's a very interesting topic.
All right. So an Arduino is essentially a generic CPU board. They make different sizes, and you can go anywhere from about 5 analog inputs for $5-7, or even the most expensive ones are like $50, and they'll give you up to 16 analog inputs and the 50 plus digital inputs. So essentially, what you would do is you would take your sensor of whatever you want it to be,
Right.
call it your oil temp, trans temp, oil pressure, trans temp pressure, water, throttle position sensor, whatever. All those things just run off either voltage or resistance.
Right.
And then you take that input off of that sensor, you plug that into one of the sensor's inputs of the Arduino, and then you program it. You have to do some programming. And there are some tutorials on YouTube, and I'm considering doing some of this. I was just looking at one where they had done a very simple, basic uh, oil temperature and pressure program. Okay. And the hardest part of the whole thing, my background's in programming from my undergrad, but that was, I graduated in 1998. Thus the gray beard from my undergrad. So it's been a while, but I figure I could, pick it back up. Just okay, it's a new language. I understand the concepts, so let's just, figure out the specifics for that programming language. And then from that standpoint, all we'd have to do is find out from the sensor manufacturer or read their documentation to find out, is this a linear sensor or a logarithmic sensor? So is it giving me a constant output through variables, or does the variable change? So if I have a water temperature sensor, so maybe it does no voltage until it gets to 100 degrees. And then at 100 degrees, I get a quarter of a volt. And then at 300 degrees, I get all 5 volts. And so what's that curve look like? And then you program that, and based upon the logarithmic algorithm that the sensor is based off of to do it. And then that the CPU goes around and it pulls all the sensors, and then you would do the SD card like you're talking about, and it would just write the data down. And then from that standpoint, you could put it into either a comma separated file and throw it into Microsoft Excel or any of the other, spreadsheet applications. Or one of the other things is you potentially could get a screen and program that so that you would see it, and then have the ability to have the screen graphic using the Arduino processor. Now, the Arduinos aren't super powerful. They're like, I don't want to give a comparison, but I'm debating between the Arduino and like a Raspberry Pi. But I think the Arduino has more inputs than the Raspberry Pi does. So I'll probably do the Arduino side of the fence for the first round and output that out. And if I can, then I would do put a screen on it and have it display and record local. I might not be able to have a display of the recorded data by the Arduino, but it could at least display the real-time information. So what I'd like to do is have a consistent method to tune and evaluate the running of the engine and transmission. So if I had I'm going to have to turn this on. I'm half in the dark here. Flash a light against the white wall and have it reflect back. So then have it display in view. So I'd have like a left and right bank of air fuel meters, and then water temp, water, oil, trans, voltage, all that normal nonsense, potentially throttle position. Right now I've just figured out how to do the engine RPM, because to me that's where you should be putting your baseline against. So it's nice to know, okay, it's running at 12.3 to 1. All right, where in
Right.
your RPM band is it at 12.3 to 1? So you have to know the engine RPM, and then put both air fuel meters down there, do your oil temps and water temps and pressures and such, so that you know from run to run where you're at. Maybe your oil pressure was a little lower or a little higher, something that way. And then vacuum is the next one I want to tackle, because so far all of the gauges or sensors I can find, they're essentially 1-bar gauges for vacuum. So negative 15 to 1.
Right.
And so that's nice. But if your car is running quote unquote good vacuum, you should be closer to 18 to 1.
Yeah.
So, or 18 inches of vacuum. Sorry, got flipped in my brain for a second. So how do I read 18 inches of vacuum on a 1-bar manifold absolute pressure gauge? You can't. You need a 2-bar. But if you do 2-bar, what they think you're running a turbo or a supercharger, and they're going from negative 15 to 0 to positive 15. That's how they're doing their 2-bar. So I'm having a hard time finding a sensor that'll do what I want it to do, but that's one of the goals that I'll have. And then they've got like Hall effect sensors and stuff that way. So you could, the Hall effect sensor, if you don't know, essentially it's a sensor that will pick up a magnetic field.
Right.
So if you put a magnetic dot or something on your distributor or something that way, and that sucker spins, then that will tell you your RPM of that. And so in the same way, you could say, well, potentially, if you had a reference at X and your vacuum's at Y, and you're pulling some amount of vacuum or vacuum advanced off your distributor, then that would tell you what your spark advance would be at any given RPM as well. So that's more stuff to do on the figuring out and programming, and maybe there's a better sensor and a better way of doing it, and doing a little research.
I know a guy. So, do you ever heard of Low Dollar Motorsports?
Not off the top of my head. No.
So it's ran by a guy named Brandon Dollar. He's 20 or 30 minutes from me, and that's all he does is sensors. That's what he does for a living.
Okay.
You could email there. If you could give me specifics, I could message him, which would probably be a quicker response, but I don't know how soon. He's a pretty busy guy, but that's all he does for a living is sensors. That's every sensor that's on the car behind me. That's through him.
Okay.
So he might not have it like that he sells, but he might know where to get it.
Right. So right now I bought a Arduino for $20, and I'm going to do some generic stuff and just test and see what in the world I can really do, and see if my concept has legs. If it does, maybe I go down the road. If it doesn't, then it was a fun learning experience anyway.
Sure.
One of the other people that I was checking out their code on YouTube that were doing the Arduino based stuff, he had a Cummins turbo diesel, and he was doing a very similar thing. And apparently Gale Banks, they have a system that'll work for non-ODDV2 cars. Okay. And it's like $400, $450 for the base unit. And then you've got different modules, and then each module can have like, okay, here's your 4-channel analog, and here's your 4-channel thermocouple, and it's $350 just for the harness. And then you have to buy your sensors on top of it. And I went, this is $1,200. And right. I don't have a sensor on the car yet. This is ridiculous. So that's why I was thinking of going down this road.
Yeah, if you could have like almost like the input output module that Holly sells that is working as a data logger, and then offer a program to put behind it, that would be huge, especially at a price point of like $500 or something like that.
Yeah, because at this point, there could be. I might need to have multiple Arduinos. I know the CPU is not real powerful, so I'm not exactly sure how many inputs I can have live polling every second,
Right.
or what do I really need? Do I need it to poll every second? Do I need it to poll every quarter of a second? You know, if you're
That,
if you're doing it like a track side of the fence, if you're pulling it, once every second, you only got 8 data points for your for your 8th mile track going down there.
oh yeah,
That's not all that information to look at. So
no, you would have to
it's
pull a
probably going to
lot.
have to be quarter to a tenth of a second or quarter of a second in order to have it reasonable. And I don't know that can do it. But for your home mechanic or general hot rodder that wants to tune their carb and make sure that the engine timing's right and normal care and feeding of a non ODDB2 car that has no sensors, that didn't even know his sensors existed other than idiot lights and broken
Right.
gauges on your dash, this would have a simple place to put and load all that information, see it, and say, "Oh, I'm running a little rich here. I'm going to adjust my primary secondary linkage, or I'm going to do X, or
Sure.
I can do Y, and get a couple, an extra half a mile to the gallon, or pick up a tenth of a second someplace."
Yeah, I could see that being valuable there
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, really think what I'm not a carb guy. I'm really not anything. I'm just a car guy. I don't really have anything specific, but I've so far I've messed with a lot of injection stuff. Carburetors are simple to people that sit down and really study them. When someone doesn't know exactly how to tune one, I feel like they just throw it away. Oh, I should have fuel injection.
right. But to me, there's no difference between a carb and a throttle body injection, if you will. In throttle body injection, you've got your spray going down the throat of the carburetor, your throttle body, your carburetor has the spray, if you will, going down the sides through your annular boosters.
Right.
It's your carburetor is just an analog computer, so instead of a digital fuel map, you have an analog fuel map, and that's all done via jet sizes and orifice sizes and such that way. So or on the digital side, you have to program that in via voltages. And so I'm going to hold, my certain injector open for a longer period of time, or I've got a full fancy dyno and I've got exhaust gas temperature ports on every single dyno tube. So all 8 tubes, and all 8 tubes also have the air fuel meters and the whole 9 yards. And then you can tune via the electronic ignition in that respect, and the fuel injection per cycle of your fuel mixture, so you have a perfect burn, if you will, off each cylinder. Well, you can do that to a certain extent with a carburetor, but you have to, do a whole lot more work because there's not the inputs for you to read the data off of that and be able to directly control each thing. The best you can do is kind of bank to bank, unless you want to do like an Offenhauser 8 throttle body,
That's what I
set
was
up, and
thinking.
then you're there.
Could you do? I think if it would be a lot easier to tune in a normal small block Chevy if you had a carburetor for each individual cylinder.
Yeah. And that's, Offenhauser made them. You saw them with the little, zoomy tubes, and then
Right.
each of those tubes you could vary the height as
Yeah, the
well,
velocity
and not
stack
just for
or whatever it's
aesthetics, but
called.
it also had the little velocity stacks on them that would also affect your air fuel meter off each item. And so or cylinder, not item, but you could do the same type thing. It's just those are very, very expensive
Right.
versus standard carburetors. Same thing with the slant six world and the sixes. And if you hung two dual Webers side mounts,
Right.
you essentially have a single carb per cylinder. Makes it easy.
Even if you could do a carburetor for 2 cylinders.
Yeah.
I think I've seen some setups on some big cubic inch race motors that are similar. I mean, obviously they're big carburetors,
I know this is people are going to jump all over me for this, but to a certain extent, the analogy doesn't go all that way. But if you have a tunnel ram with center squirter 4 barrels on there, you essentially have one per cylinder, because you've got your flow going, and essentially each barrel of your carburetor is going to a dedicated barrel of your car, because you have a tunnel ram and it's going straight through. You don't have much, or depending upon your tunnel ram, you may or may not have a whole lot of shared plenum area to go for your cylinder to center cross.
right. Yeah, I've seen some dual quad tunnel rams where, like, what's on my car is a pretty good example of it. There's a big plenum that connects all 4 ports to.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like a normal small block Chevy one, the rear 4 and the front 4 go to one carburetor each.
Right.
So I see that. I can see that.
Yeah. And and if you didn't have it and you wanted to play, it's nothing that a little sheet metal couldn't fix. Just make yourself a little, call it a 4-square tic-tac-toe board that just sits inside that plenum and blocks off that side, so that you have a 1-to-1 all the way through. It'll be fun to test with anyway.
Oh, for sure. I love. So I got a 1990 K1500, like 90s model Chevy. It's got 33s on it. It's got a turbo 350. I got 15 miles of the gallon out of a 4-barrel, a 350 that's got 300 plus miles, 300,000 plus miles, 15 miles a gallon in a 4-wheel drive truck out of a junk carburetor that I bought for cheap. So
yeah,
I love playing with them a little.
Yeah. Limey, I have a whole set of videos on the sound deadener that I did for, and it wasn't even intentional. The Dynamat, they sent me pre-cut sheets for just off their normal catalog, and the trunk had a miscut. So if you don't know, on the trunk of the Cuda versus the Challenger, it has to do with the fuel tank input. So on the Barracuda, it attaches from the back side where the license plate is. The license plate flips up, and that's where you do your fill. So it has a very short fill tube. And on the Challenger, it comes from the passenger side, and that comes all the way across and down into the center of the tank, or almost center of the tank. And therefore you have a cutout that belongs for that tube to enter. Well, I got the stuff, and lo and behold, that little piece was missing. So I called them up and said, hey, my piece is missing. I just mentioned that I was doing a YouTube video of it, of the installation. They liked it. They sent me the banner and a shirt and a hat as a thank you for doing them. But that's all the thing. It wasn't sponsored. They had no say in any of my process or what I did or how I did it. In fact, they didn't even comment on any of the videos other than saying thank you for doing it and sending me the stuff.
Well, that's cool. I can't afford Dynamat. I don't.
Yeah. And I know the generic sheets of Dynamat are expensive comparatively, but if you look at time versus money, I found that the pre-cut sheets that were cut for your car
Right.
was fairly reasonable. Because if
Well,
I,
they don't make them for the what's behind me.
oh, that's true. Yeah.
But I was gonna. I mean, I'm sure it's a quality product. For a race car, though, it's not worth it.
No, and what do you want to do for your race car? You want to
Right.
save weight, not add weight. And
Yeah,
so
it's already
why would you
heavy.
put sound deadener on just to load the sucker down?
Well, at first, it was going to be a street driven, not street strip, but something that I could cruise and get, ice cream or something like that on a summer day. But it's went full race car kind of.
Yep. Sounds like it. All right. Well, that was why I wanted to jump on and kind of have the conversation on the sensor and the data logging,
Yeah.
because that's something that I'm actively looking at. And 90% of the stuff out there, they all want to hook up to your ODB2 connector. And I'm like, thank you for playing. Nope, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Didn't have one in 1971, and
I'm saying,
don't want to spend the money for a
did
full-on computer.
OBD2 come out in 97, I think.
It
1997.
was mandated in 1996, and some 1995s had a version of it, of the ODB2, and I think it was 1989 that came out with ODB1.
That's when cars started going to crap.
Yeah, that's there was it's all emissions and computer controls, and it was a ploy to save you money so that all you had to do was plug the car into the manufacturer's computer and it would tell you what was wrong with it. Oh, you have a cylinder miss on number 3. Okay, great. That's wonderful that you can tell me that. But it doesn't tell me how to fix it.
Oh, yeah, that too.
It doesn't tell you, oh, idiot, your spark plug cable's loose.
Like,
plug it in.
I bought a 2004 Cadillac Escalade. It had a bunch of stuff on the OBD port saying, "Hey, fix me." It's like, okay, how do I fix it? It tells me what's wrong, but not what exactly is wrong. It goes, like a sensor. Okay, that sensor is just there to tell me 4 things are wrong. Which of those 4 things are wrong? Then I got to figure out how to fix it, or if it's even a problem, or if it's a bad sensor. All I think that did was create another step in the process of fixing something.
And I also think it dumbed down the technician.
Right.
And so essentially, where before you'd say, hey, it's making a funny noise or whatever, they had to know what type things could make that noise. And now I got an idiot light that came on and they're like, oh, well, it's this. And you have no way of arguing against me, so I can tell you whatever it is I want. And all I now do is, oh, it's a P301. That means I go to the book and I do these 4 things and here's your bill.
It should be fixed.
It should be fixed.
Did I see your video on the voltmeter? No, I didn't. What did you do with a voltmeter?
So I took a 4-gauge wire, ran it from my alternator. It's actually out of the car right now. Mr. Alternator output.
Okay.
And I got to flip back to our screen. Voltmeter output right here.
Right.
Ran it across the back of the car straight to the battery so that I could bypass the amp meter inside the car. The 71 CUDAs, I've got various pieces of information, but it's somewhere between an 8 and a 12 gauge wire. I tend to believe it's a 12 gauge wire because the connector at the firewall is only, from best my research, is only rated for 35 amps, and that's way small for an 8 gauge wire.
Right.
So therefore, I wanted to upgrade my alternator to a better unit that could output some real voltage or real amperage. And so when doing that, I wanted to put a fuse in case there was a dead short. It didn't cause a problem. So I put the meter on, and the amp meter or the fuse holder also includes a voltage indicator. So it'll tell me if it's 12.4 or 14.6 or right after starting it up or whatever.
So does the gauge work still then, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't disconnect the amp meter inside the car, and the original cable is still going there because, at least on my car, that feeds the whole car. It goes from the alternator straight to the firewall, through the firewall, into a connector that then feeds the fuse block and everything else.
Okay.
You have to come back out the firewall to get any voltage, except for the starter.
Right.
Everything else goes through that firewall. So a lot of people say that there's a problem where, your car's going to catch on fire, or all this stuff. Don't do that. Well, that's because they've got 1971 electronics or electrical theory going through, and they're trying to apply 2023, 2024, mentality to it.
Right.
You can't. You can't just put a 500-watt amp in your car and massive speakers and think your stock system is going to handle it. It's not. It wasn't designed for that. Forget it. And that's why, even when I'm talking about the Arduinos, I don't know how much voltage each of these things are going to do and take. So I wanted to upgrade that before I started this process. My earbuds telling me I've got low battery on my headset, so I'm going to drop off. But thanks for letting me chime in and jump in, and
thanks for coming
have
on.
a quick conversation. You're very welcome.
I'm almost done here. I was just going to go for an hour or so. So thanks for joining me.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. I'll drop out and let you continue with your stream.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Those are good conversations. Very good conversationalist. I like those kinds of conversations where you get to not only pick somebody's brain, but you can learn from each other, really. I mean, so I guess that's what I value that in a conversation, is if I'm gaining something from him and he's gaining something from me, we're growing, not really as individuals, I guess, but kind of, in knowledge and ways we look at things. So when you talk to somebody, you want to gain something from the situation and you want to be able to offer something. I'll get off that subject because I'm not a professional and it's not advice, but that's how I've thought to learn stuff. Hey, Jeffro. I wasn't going to go live for much longer, but if you want to join in, I will continue. There's some other lives going on, and I'm not eating supper yet, but you're welcome to join. Hey, Mohawk. Yes, that was very interesting. Thanks, Scarlett. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying my life a little bit. I got my watch hours, so I'm happy. We did that before the end of the year, so we're up to 1,044. Well on our way to 4,000, so that's cool. Jeff, you got your 4,000, right? I am wiped. Build an engine today. Finally sitting down to eat. Well, good. Sit down and relax. But you got your 4,000 watch hours, right? Did you see my request to visit and hook up some Dakota gauges? I did. I don't know how to do that. I can't be that hard, theoretically. Okay, Jeff, since you did hit your watch hours, so how does when you continue to do it, do you have to have 4,000 every year? Or if like it drops off to 3,500, does that, or does that, how do I say it? Or you have to keep up to 4,000 every year all the time? I'm not, I don't know if you understand how I'm asking that or if I'm not explaining it, but I feel like I've explained it enough. Yes, 4,000 annually every year. Yay! Although I could do that with, if I got to 4,000, I could probably continue it. I feel like I'm, we'll see. And ignored promptly. Well, the thing is, Anthony, the drive up there would cost me a fortune, and I don't know how to help you. I've never installed digital gauges. If I did, I could probably teach you. I do, however. Hello, Wendy. Thanks for joining. Um, just rising you. No, I want to do digital gauges in the ramp truck. It's just not there. I don't have money for it, and then also I don't have time to, like, the gauges in it already work fine, somewhat. Granted, some of them don't work anymore because somebody decided to just snip them. This guy, exactly. But at that time, I had planned on doing something different with the truck. Could I fix it? Yes, probably. Could probably fix it. But I want to put Dakota gauges. Blah. These were a gift to me, so I want to make use of them. Sure. Are they digital gauges for the Chevelle? I can't imagine them being hard to put in. I really can't. Because, I mean, obviously they got to have power. So 12-volt power. They got to be grounded, I would say. So a main ground. I don't know how each sweep style for the Chevelle. I don't know how they on an old car how they get data. So like because if each individual gauge or let's see, how do I want to explain this? If each, like oil temp or oil pressure, if each one of those has their own sender, where are you getting that information from? Do you have to put sensors in to get it to function, or is it just read off of stock style sensors? Or I guess that's my question. Where are you getting your information from? That would be my start. How does the gauges get information from the stock motor and transmission or whatever your gauges say? That should be your first question, theoretically. Uh-oh. So, are those factory? I don't know if I can help you with that. I don't know. I don't, like, do they mount in the factory place? Yeah. Oh, they have to. Just wiring scares that. Dude, wiring's not as hard as they say it is, especially in cars. House lighting can really screw you, but with a car, it's hard to screw up a car wire. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Yeah, I wanted to do the circle whenever I got my car to a point where I had the dash in it and everything. Most gauge kits come with their own sending units, at least in my experience. Mohawk, you're right. I would think they would have some way of getting data to display it. There would have to be some type of sensor, or it would tell you which sensor on your engine it can plug and play with. I don't know. Like, again, I'm not the smartest man on that. I've never done it. But I can say that it has to have, your digital gauges have to have something to read off of. So that would be your first question. What's it reading off of? Then the wiring part's the easy part, because in, like, if it's a pressure sensor, okay, so GPS and TPM is ready. Granted, okay, so you plug something in there. I disagree. House wiring is black, white, and green. No pink, orange with blue dots. Well, all I'm saying is if you make a mistake with house wiring, your house burns down. If you wire a car, the fuse blows before the car burns down. See what I'm saying? Then it disconnects power. Like, picking up what I'm putting down, Jose, or explodes. But if your house explodes, you're in it. You're probably not going to worry about the car, so it'll be fine. But that's my suggestion. Looks like there's something that has to go to that box you sent me in that picture. So there's wires that go in that, or straps that go in that, but where do those go? Where's it, when it plugs in, where's it getting information from? That's your first question. Just like an electrical fan said, I did. It told me the part number of the sending unit I should use with their product. Or that, yeah, that's a good example. It tells you what to use. It will be here Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. You know, if you, I mean, I'm here for advice. I don't know if I can physically help you, but don't sweat the small stuff too much. I mean, it can't be that hard. I say that a lot, so, take that for what it is. But I like being challenged. Not mentally challenged, but challenged. But there's only one way to figure that out, and that's to do it. Sit back, go, I need this for this. Step one, I got to figure out what this needs. And then step two, okay, how do I wire it? Does it need a sensor ground? Does it need a 5-volt reference? I don't know. Do you need to buy a sensor from this company or that company? Oh, that's just how I do any of my projects. Sit down, look at it, go, what do I need? What do I got to do? And then do it. That's the part that really sucks, is the doing it part. But, getting everything figured out and laid out and making a plan, that's the easy part. Mostly, depending on who you are. If you're a detailed oriented person, you're golden. If you hate doing anything with a plan, don't even touch it. Let somebody else that does do stuff good do it. Just a suggestion, that's all. But how's everybody's Monday going? I'm enjoying life as much as I can. It is January 1st, 2024, obviously. So that's nice. What is that? What you got chips there? What kind of chips? Huh? Oh. We don't got any cheese dip, do we? We want the crud.
I can't find my lunchbox. You still live?
Yeah.
Oh. Hello. Television.
Brooke says she can't find her lunchbox. You know where it's at?
Where?
Mom and Dad are using it, aren't they?
My lunchbox?
Yeah, didn't they grab it?
They grabbed my backpack.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I need it too, but
Yeah.
I need my lunchbox just a little bit.
Great. New year, new goals. I got plenty of goals. Will they be met?
Yes.
Probably. I tried.
So look.
Hey, Wendy says hi.
Who?
Wendy.
Hello, Wendy.
Brooke says hello.
Hello, TV land.
TV land.
Hey, look, no, there's a guy on TikTok. I watch him and his wife or whatever, and his wife is like my age, and he's like your dad's age, or no, maybe
What
your
the crud?
grandpa's age. But they're like really cute. He's super old. She's super young.
Jeez,
they're
a
cute-
Pete.
they're
That's like
cute
a
couple, but
50-year difference.
But when she's on TikTok, she'll say, "Hey, hey, honey, come say hi," and he's like, "Hello, TV land." and in his
Weird.
and in his bio it says, "Hello, TV land."
Weird. I'm all about age gaps and having a young wife, but that's too much. 50-year age gap? What the world?
Where?
Especially that young. That's weird. Anyway. Limey says, "Howdy, Brooke. Didn't know you were there. Well, I knew you were there, but not there with him at live."
Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm not.
Technically, she's not. Technically, she's looking for her. She's making a mess. Sorry. I should just say, be honest.
There was a full lunchbox that I just had that was over there, and I moved it somewhere, and I don't know exactly where. I know where I put it.
In the garbage?
Here it is.
Why'd you put it in the garbage?
Because I don't use it.
Now throw it away.
I can't. I have to use it tomorrow.
Why?
Because I don't know where my lunchbox is.
Don't you have a fridge at work?
No. Well, yes, but not one that is. I can put my lunchbox in it, but that's it.
Why don't we just get you a mini fridge then?
Because I don't have an office.
You don't have to have an office.
Where am I going to put the mini fridge?
Mohawk says hi, and then Colleen says early onset dementia. Yes,
Whatever.
absolutely. Worse than dementia. I can tell you that.
Look.
When she's old, there's gonna be a lot of people fighting for their lives trying to get her to go somewhere or do anything.
It's better that I forgot where it is, instead of having like a mental freaking breakdown like I did earlier. Ask Dylan. I was
Imagine that having a child and going, "Where did I put my child? Oh, in the trash can.
No, I wouldn't put my child in the trash can.
I didn't need it no more." That's not right. That's not okay.
It's a leopard print freaking lunchbox. I just got the dang thing.
I don't know. Is it in your car?
I almost went out to look, but I didn't, because I was like, I don't think it's in there.
Did you leave it at work?
I don't know. If it's not here, then possibly.
The live dilemmas here at the Levi household. You know, this is so entertaining to them, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
You're boring, so.
I am very boring. I know. I'm a boring person. I need a video with some burnouts, like something fun. We've not done a fun video in like forever. I don't know if we've ever done one, to be honest. Yes, put it where you can't find it later, so later you will find it. Right. I mean, makes total sense, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to help. Usually that gets me yelled at, so I just stay out of it. My daughter had a sign that read, "Today's goal, keep the tiny humans alive." Sometimes I'm sure as a parent that is like the bare minimum. Like you're trying so hard to just function. Then you got other humans that rely on you to function. I'm sure that's tough. Let's see here. I got a message. Uh-oh. Sent me the link. Okay, so you're... Ooh. So I could send you a... Interesting. Yeah, there's the wiring schematics, I guess. Oh, so okay. Yeah, look at that. You literally don't even need me. There's a wiring diagram right there, dude. Limey. There's a wiring diagram. You don't need me. You don't need little old me. I'm sure they make a really. Kids are tough. I have an 18 and a 15-year-old. Dude, that's crazy. I'm 23. Oh, two. I'm tired. I hate wiring. I buy you a steak. I hate wiring too. Where's the steak from? Let's clarify that. Because I went to a Mexican place, like a Mexican restaurant. When was that? Probably a month or two ago. And dude, that was the worst steak I've ever had in my life. The thing was thin as hell and was just rubber. I'm like, why would I pay money for this? Slaughterhouse, brother. Well, obviously, every steak comes from a slaughterhouse. Now, if you'd have said like Texas Roadhouse or something like that, now we're talking. Love that place. Woo! Turbo Time's got you all beat. Mine are 28, 26, and 23. Golly. Must be nice to be old. Wait, Mexican rest for a steak? Oh. So, honestly, I had to take a, not client, but a coworker out to dinner. He's from Germany, or for lunch, sorry. And that's where he picked the Mexican restaurant. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate this place. I looked at the menu. I kept looking at it. I'm like, I could eat that. Don't really want to. Don't want that. Don't want this. And I'm like, that leaves me with a steak or chicken fingers. I'm like, I'm not eating chicken fingers. So steak it was. And boy, was it awful. We don't have one anymore. Well, ours in town is expensive and the food's okay. Find it?
No. I went to my car.
You're on a mission.
Be at work.
I would say that's a good guess. Not easy, is it?
We out of flipping right?
No.
Ooh.
Should be some in the cabinet.
Think it'd be really good with some carrots.
That's disgusting. Hey, bring that here, actually.
Why?
I'm going to show them.
You gonna show TV Land?
I'm going to show TV Land what in the world is wrong with you.
I like pickles. And I got that for my birthday or something. I don't remember when I got it, but
yes,
my cousin sent it to me from North Carolina.
That says Pickle Ranch.
Because we ain't got nothing up here like that.
Pickle.
You're
going to have to do either
the
that.
crap. Oh, there it is. Pickle Ranch. Yeah. I'm going to put it on the carrots.
It's literally disgusting.
You haven't even tried it.
I don't even like it. I know I don't.
If I like it, then I'll put it on my carrots.
I went there one time before the kiddos came around and finished the 72 ounce and fixings and got both meals free. Nice.
Where did you go?
Oh, and Limey says, ew.
Well, look. I like pickles.
Pickles are disgusting. Especially when you put them in a ranch. Like, I never thought you could ruin ranch, but apparently it is possible. I mean, ranch is like the best fixings ever. You want a good little side, like something to dip your fries in or something like that. You want a salad dressing. Ranch is literally like, oh, spot on, dude. And you know what bugs me? Other countries don't have like what we have here. And it bugs me because like I like gherkins, but not with ranch. What are gherkins? What on earth are you talking about? Oh, it's like a pickled cucumber. Isn't that what a pickle is? You're like, why? I don't get into that. Okay, so I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I don't need carrots. I really don't need salad, but I do like salad. I don't like, I don't know what. I like green beans. I don't like peas. Peas are weird. Like little ball looking bunch of them. That's for the birds. Give it to the birds. Corn. Good, but not great. Usually, if corn's cooked, it's not great. It's usually horrible. Occasionally, we get some good ones here, and we cook them right on the cob. You know, but that's I hate that kind of stuff. Like people that mix ketchup and ranch, weird mixture that don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. Ketchup and mayo, you're fine. Those are probably okay. Ranch with ketchup don't belong together. But I did find one like Chipotle Ranch, mint, like great. Buffalo Ranch, okay, but not great. Depending on what you're eating it with. If you're eating it with like something that's also like just a little bit spicy in a certain way, it could be okay. But like just to dip in something or put on a salad, I don't see me liking that. Um, what else? What else? I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about. But all I can say is, don't get me started on dippings. I don't even know where I was going with that. I think I was talking about other countries, and then you said something about gherkins, and I didn't know what gherkins was, and I looked it up, and it's just pickles. Granted, other countries don't have half the stuff we do here. We would be much better off if we ate like other countries. Like look of the foods we eat here are banned in other countries. Okay, I've been to Germany. I've been to where was that? Belgium. All I can say is I never want to be I don't ever want to go and stay there. Okay, so they aren't that healthy in all reality. Their lives are not that healthy. Their food is like if you want anything halfway decent, you're I don't know how to explain it. Like they don't believe in meat first. So I'm out of the question. I wouldn't even stay. Like I'm not staying there. Don't care. Got to have meat. Like why not? And it's because there's not much farmland and they don't want to farm cows. Why? They're a great resource for you can use the manure. You know what for? Growing crops. Oh, I don't want to get started on that. They have peanut sauce. I don't care. I don't. Green German mustards are awesome compared to ours. Talking to a guy that don't eat mustard, so it doesn't matter to me really. But like they don't have ranch. They don't offer ranch. Why? Is it bad for you? Yeah, anything in excess is bad for you. That's what people don't understand about the US food market. Like at some point I'll be traveling to other countries in my life too. But the one thing I can say is we have it really good here. And the thing about our food here is if you don't overeat, it's not unhealthy. That's what I wish people would understand. Like that's the biggest thing the US has as a problem is overeating. It's not the food we eat, it's how much of that food we eat. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, I'm not this, but from the evidence I've gathered, they're no healthier than we are, and we're no healthier than they are, according to mine. My family came here from Eastern Europe. The food I grew up with was good. Yeah, see, I guess different opinions. But when it when it cost me $80 for a steak, get that out of here. Hans was Kazak, the father of the Dr. Pickle car. It's a Hidden Valley thing. It's why no one else has it. Hey, then good. I've always been America the Great. America will always be great. It's in the pantry with Elon Mustard. Oh, I love him. Elon Musk. JB, what is up, buddy? Thanks for joining me. I'm just kind of having a chill live talking about weird foods and stuff and ranting about um not liking other countries' way of eating. Oh, in Germany. Dude, they love their bread. Okay, first off, every doctor I've ever talked to said carbs are bad. So, okay, so technically they're unhealthy because that's all they have is carbs. It's the chemicals they're allowed to use here. I had a tomato sit on my counter for 3 months without rotting. That's not normal. Okay, here's what you're missing though. Tom, I should have had the chicken fingers. You're absolutely right. Here's the thing about that. We're at in the process of the preservatives. They obviously have to use preservatives. Because remember, if food only lasts a week or two or a month, you can't use it because by the time it gets ripe, straight from the tree to the truck, cleaned in the produce section, from you to buy it to take home, how many weeks is that in between there? Think about it. Try and ship anything. Ship this mug out. Well, you can't see that. Hang on. We'll ship a phone out. Ship a phone to California. That's 3 to 5 days. Right there, gone. Just from shipping it. Now, that doesn't account for packaging it, getting the shipping label ready. Did you find our ranch?
Yeah, that's a thing. So but I didn't use it. Because I like this with carrots.
You're weird. Okay. Food fighter. Henry Ford felt the same way. I'm probably a lot like Henry Ford, and that's probably a bad thing. It's been irradiated. My favorite stalker. Now, I'm not trying to be. I'm not like telling you you're wrong. I'm sure.
Don't let him lie.
I'm sure the preservatives aren't good for us, but literally everything on Earth is not good for us. I mean, literally, if we look at when I go to the doctor and ask them,
I found all these in a store.
Okay. True. But like when I go to the doctor, I always ask about certain things, and every time I've asked about food, they've said it's unhealthy. Like Diet Pepsi, unhealthy. Regular Pepsi, unhealthy. Even water, they've told me was unhealthy. But you're a lot more like John Z. DeLorean. Yeah, stainless. Oh, the car was a nightmare. I don't like gull wings. I don't like the big wing doors. That's just me.
I was about to say, what are you talking about? For a second, I thought you were talking about chicken wings.
I wish I was, because I'm hungry.
Want me to make you a sandwich?
I don't know. I might make it after this. I'm only going to be live for a few more minutes, but where was I going with that? Water and air will kill you, sir. Exactly. It's what, like I said, it didn't matter what I brought up. Big bird hater. No way. I'm not a big bird hater.
I like big bird.
That's because we are not indigenous to this planet, some people say. Could be. But like I tell everybody, you're going to die someday. Whether it's a car wreck, dying natural causes, or get cancer, or you got this, or you got that. You have to expire at some point.
Listen, he just inspirational.
You're going to have to just live your life and not worry about it so much.
You're going to die. Maybe the next day.
I didn't have a choice to change my diet back in 2017. I cut out soda, added sugars, and processed foods. Man, it made a huge difference. Right. Some people need that. Some people choose to do that. And in your case, I guess you didn't have an option. So, you had to.
I mean, technically, what we're doing right now, you don't really have an option either.
Why?
You either do it or you dead at 30.
Right. Yeah. See, that's why I made a post on Facebook a while back. That
He was getting his crap together because his doctor told him that.
I'm basically like, I've been okay up until now, and honestly, I've let my weight go a little bit further than it should have. But it had nothing to do. It really didn't have anything to do with what I was eating. It was how much I was eating and how frequently I was eating. I mean, what did I? Let's calculate it up. I've lost 267, 257, 10 pounds. I've lost 10 pounds in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. When did we start running? 2-3 weeks max.
What day was it that he told you that you were going to die? December 13th. That was your last appointment with him. So almost a month.
Yeah.
In 12 days.
When you start breathing, you start to die. Let that sink in. Exactly. I want to change my life up so I don't die at 30, but I'm not going to make super huge changes to something that I enjoy. Hey, look at this guy. He's thinking with his brain cap. But seriously, you got to make decisions every day, but at what point
do you give up?
Yeah, because you're either going to figure out something that works and you're going to live forever, or you're going to sit back, fear it, cry about it, worry about it, and then you're going to worry yourself to death, literally. So, I mean, you can't do too much. You can only do what you can do in the moment. I know I'm getting a little philosophical on you, but whatever you want to call it. But it's true. People die every day. It's just like the graveyard. People are dying to get in there every day. I hate joking about that, but you have to. Right, Mohawk. Stress is a killer, and when you stress about stuff. JB says, "I eat what I want. The heck with it. I will die happy." See, you can't worry about it too much. Obviously, you should, like if you're getting obese like me, obviously you got to cut back. But if you're still healthy and you're eating the foods you want, they can't. Brooke's calling you old.
Hey, look, listen. That's not what I
JB,
said.
Brooke called you old,
No,
so
I
I give you permission to make fun of her however you want to.
Those are not the words I said. You are fibbing.
Actually, she said you're old as beep.
I did not. I said he's old anyway. I'm just kidding. I could be thinking of somebody completely different. I don't know.
No, JB's. You're probably.
Did we watch him
50?
the other day?
Yeah. You're probably 50 something.
Is he the one talking about like the video that went up that he didn't post? Or is that a different person? Because if that's not him, then that's the guy I'm thinking of.
It may be. I resemble that. I am old. Thanks.
Well, there you go.
You either get old worrying about it. Oh, yes, that was him.
Well,
JB says I am old. Right. I guess someday you got to accept it, right? As I get older, 59. Man, look at me. I'm pretty good. I was only 9 years off. I'm very tired. But I get up late, and I go to bed late. Except for work weeks. Then I'm busy. I gotta go to work. Yay. Don't you just love having a job? Hey, Limey's 58. Hey, Mohawk is 62 in May. So you're 61. 62 in May. That's right.
40. So he's 16 right now.
Huh?
Ah.
61.
I know. So it'll be 16.
Oh, yeah, you're 16.
So it'll be 26 in May. Damn.
JB says, eats lots of bacon, biscuits, and gravy, and smear everything with butter. You will have a long life. Right.
Butter clogged arteries, honey.
Jeff is 44.
I knew Jeff was
God.
like 2 hacks.
Yeah.
He's old enough to be my dad.
He's got, well, he went back. Let me go back and I got to find that comment now.
But that will make Jeff old. Feel
You know what made me feel old is that his kids are
He's
almost as old as us.
He's old enough to be my dad.
Well, all these people are.
JB
But anyway.
probably old enough to. I don't know. How old is JB?
59.
Oh, he's not old enough to be my
Turbo
grandpa.
Tom is 58 too.
He's not old
Go
enough
get
be
something to
my
eat, Dylan.
grandpa.
You're running out of energy. Close to running out of energy.
Mohawk's what? 68, 58,
Mohawk is
62.
62 in May. So he's 61 right now.
My grandma's 82, so none of them are really old enough to be my grandpa.
But, well, what if they had an age gap? What
They
if,
did. My grandma was 20, and my grandpa that had my dad was 60 or 40.
yikes.
Or no, that's the other way around. She was 40.
Grab a Snickers. I know you're not you when you're hungry.
No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah, no regrets. Oh, but I ordered, I guess.
Real butter does not clog anything. It's the processed crap that kills you. Well, look.
Damien is 33. How old are you? I am 23. He's got 10 years on me.
My daily sleep, 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Jeff, that's not sleep.
Hey, me too. Close.
His mom will be 90.
How? And she's still kicking?
Oh, man.
That's impressive.
I had a 98-year-old, no, 90, how was she? How old was she? 92-year-old
That's what.
woman come in the office, and she looked like she was freaking 70. She was still rolling around. Like she was walking. Like perfectly fine, still in her right mind. It's cray-cray.
Grandpa Charlie's mom was 92 when she stopped driving.
When she stopped driving?
Stopped driving. She died at 93, but that's because of they started doing dialysis.
That'll get you.
Jeff, mine is around 11 till 3. Wait, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m.?
Like his sleep.
That's horrible. That's only 3 hours of sleep.
Okay, well, Jeff is getting like 5. If that's even if he goes
Her
to
mom
bed
was
right at 1.
112.
Holy Jesus. My great aunt made it to 107.
Okay, so that's funny. How old is your Model T then? What year was it?
Jesus.
Because that's got to be
Same as
similar.
Model T's, the sleeps over.
His mom's probably Jeff. I thought that.
That's David Weisard.
I know you, JB. I know, JB. You sleep from 11 p.m. to 3. Oh, that makes more sense.
I asked that woman that come into the office. I said, "What's your secret?" And she goes, "I just drink lots of water." My daughter will be 19. So damn, I got 2 years on her. 3 years. She was a surprise. Oh.
Is it a happy little surprise or not a happy little surprise?
Oops. At 112, you watch 3 generations die. That would suck. Damn.
Well, technically, you wouldn't.
1916 is his
Model T.
Yeah. So if his mom's 112, or is that what he said? Wasn't his mom? No, his mom's mom.
His mom would have been older than that Model T by 8 years. Or 4 years, I'm sorry. My math's incorrect.
2024 minus 112. She was 19. She's born 1912.
That's cool.
His car is 1916. So she was alive when they come out.
Right. My daughter will be 19. Surprise. Was it the happy little surprise, or was it the surprise that goes, uh-oh?
I got 3 years on her.
Mohawk. Oh, crap. It's on now.
Oh.
Jeff, the best surprise you got, sir.
Is that his only girl, I wonder? He's just got the one boy, right?
I don't know any of his children.
He's just got the one boy.
I just know him.
Or at least the boy was at No Name Nationals. So maybe he's just got a boy and a girl. And then that's it.
Jeff, you got 2 kids?
The boy and the girl?
You know, I guess technically you don't have to answer that if you don't want to. But
The boy's young. He's not our age.
My age is the same as my IQ. I was born last century. I'm not. I don't. Maybe
Okay.
my IQ must be lower because I'm not sure I comprehend that right now. My youngest was a surprise and loved all of it. Well, that's good.
There you go. The Model T was bought new in Tom's family, if I remember correctly. I'm sure it was.
Dude, there was one that popped up on Facebook for $5,000, and it had me thinking so hard. It would be so cool to own a piece of history like that.
Your Laguna is not a piece of history.
Technically, it is, but a Model T, like one of the first cars that like were.
How old does a car have to be for it to be considered historic?
15 years.
Well,
or 25. It might be 25, depending on what state you're in.
Is my Buick an 84 or an 85?
4, I think. But you're way ahead of me. No, I'm dumb.
Hey, it's 40 years old, so it's historic.
Yeah, anything
I
over
can get
under
it
25.
registered as a historic vehicle.
Yes, but it does literally nothing. Other than I think you don't have to change plates or something like that.
Then
I have
I'll
a
do
ton.
that.
Just look at me talking to Levi.
Illinois is 20 years and the
Antique. Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's all BS, the whole plate thing for the vintage stuff, because you don't get any breaks on money. You don't get, like...
You do if you don't have to.
It's just as expensive. Plate. It's just as expensive as getting plates every year. So is it really worth it? At least in Indiana, I don't feel like it's not. But, you know, to each their own. Each state could be different. You do have a piece of history. I do have a piece of history, but I want a piece of history that started the history. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the Model T was the first factory assembled, or like assembly line factory assembled car ever produced, I believe. Right? Am I wrong on that? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I think. Again, I'm not the brightest bulb in the pack, but I am a bulb and I have some light. That's the only way I can talk about myself in a decent light without making fun of myself. I pay less than $30 a year for a plate on the CUDA. See, now that's something I could get with. Speaking of, what brand insurance do you go through? Because your CUDA is really nice. Like, if I wanted to put plates on the Laguna, or insurance on the Laguna, I'm not putting full coverage on that. And there's no one in the right mind that would put full coverage on it. Not for cheap, at least. You know, just coverage enough so that I don't get screwed. You use Haggerty. Like, roughly what's that cost, or how do they do that? Break out the billfold and get at it, Levi. What do you mean break out the billfold? Break out the billfold for what? First factory produced car was in 1886 in Germany. I mean in the U.S. I don't care about them dumb people across the pond. They're not dumb, but I don't care about the across the pond stuff. If you list a car as historical, it limits how many miles you can put on it yearly. It will never list I will never list my Charger as anything other than daily driver. Yeah, I am definitely not going to limit miles, depending on what it is. Because technically, mine don't have an odometer, so they can't tell me how many miles I put on it. So, how many miles I put on it? I don't know, 200, 300, 40, 50? I don't know. Can't tell. Yeah, there you go. 1913. There you go. Very cool. I pay $50 a month in insurance and $48 a year for tags. Love the old stuff. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Illinois says 3,500 miles a year. Yeah, I am not driving that car behind me in the screen 3,500 miles a year. Well, I don't know. I might. Some of them Dragon drives are 1,200 miles a piece. I think I pay about $550 a year for insurance. So that's really not that bad. That's really not that bad, honestly.
I'm on the last load of laundry.
550 divided by 12. That's only 4. Dude, that's kind of cheap. Most of that is because of the value they put on the car. Oh, okay. So they have to do that. It's not. I see. Well, because I mean, what value would you put on a car that's custom built to go fast? They're gonna be like, dude, it's only worth $1,000. Back to Florida and back. That's your limit. One shot, right? But I don't drive this. I would never drive this thing that much. I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's loud as crud. It vibrates like a mofo. There's nothing reliable or viable, I should say. Like, it's not a street car. It's a race car. I'm not one of these people that says I got a street car and it's a full blown race car. Okay, it's a race car. I don't drive it 40 million miles a year. I'll never say I do want to drive it. That would be fun, but I'm not doing that to say it's comfortable or it's a street car. It is not a street car. It's a race car. Lord help me, I got a race car. Yeah, vibrates like a Fomoco. Yeah. It's definitely not a Ford, though. As many times as it's been told to me, hey, is it a Ford? Whatever, Thunderbird, this, that, the other. Probably could be a Ford at this point. Gotta run, have a pot of beans enriched with ham waiting. Good luck, enjoy your beans, and enjoy the ham that's enriching your beans. I'm almost done anyway. Allstate will not insure race cars. I had a nice chat with my rep about that. Well, I wouldn't tell them it's a race car. I have to lie to them. See you, JB. Oh, you definitely have to lie to him if you want something like it's got a full-blown cage in it. Who puts a roll cage in their daily driver? No one that I know that's insane or that's sane, that's for sure. I'll go for another 8 minutes and then I'll end it. I'll go eat my dinner. I got to shave too. Ooh. That stinks. I hate shaving. Tomorrow night I won't go live because there will be there'll be somebody else going live tomorrow, I believe, that I enjoy watching. So I'll participate in it probably, but I need to get going also. Thanks for the live, Dylan. It was fun. Thank you for joining us, Mohawk. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're almost done anyway, so just trying to wind down so I can get some food and go to bed and go to work in the morning. Yay, work. That's not that bad. Just tell them your Laguna does double duty as a hen hutch. Yeah, right. It's farm equipment. Thank you. Happy New Year. Yeah. Have a good night. John, I believe it was, right? That's what the kid. Later, Mohawk, Dylan, Colleen, and crew. All right. Have a good night, Anthony. We'll see you the next live. Correct. Okay. That's what I thought. I couldn't remember. I call you Scarlett. I will call you by your real name, John, if I can remember. Colleen, half pint will be a street strip truck. If I wreck on the track, I'm not covered. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm surprised there's not insurance companies that will specifically be only race cars. Like, you got a race car that you want to insure, which granted, that would be really tough to insure, but it's possible, right? There's got to be money in that. If they'll only cover it if it's got oil under the tire. I'll answer to either now. Okay, I appreciate it. I'm a little slow and I don't know everybody's name, so if I don't talk to you every day, I probably won't remember your name. That's usually my problem. I mean, at my last job, there was probably half of the place I didn't know their name, and usually by the time I learned their name, they were going to a different job site or a different place. So I'm like, I'm done with names. I can't learn y'all's names that quick and then see you bye, right? Shh, it's a secret. Scarlet is his public name. Undercover Cuda. Yeah, undercover. Well, with his Cuda, I wouldn't put it under a color. It looks pretty nice. That's just my opinion. All right. That's like buying a house in Florida. Hurricane insurance, $20K a year. Yeah, I'm sure it would be stupid expensive. Yeah. All right. 4 minutes. Anything you guys can ask in 4 minutes, whatever it is. I will do my best to answer it and answer it honestly, to be honest. Tebow, this is only if you live on the coast. Mine is not nearly that expensive. I would not pay $20K a year for protection. I mean, it seems expensive, but then again, how would you do that? Like, okay, if maybe people shouldn't live there, right? Maybe is that what? How else would you do that? Like, because people choose to live there, right? Like, could you force people to make structures that will withstand hurricanes? Is that possible? I mean, how could you get around getting insurance? Can you go without it? How do you pay for the house afterwards? I mean, it seems insane. My homeowner's insurance is like $6K a year, if I remember right. It's all in an impound account. I don't know what that is, but okay. I know insurance up here is not that expensive for a decent sized house. Like it's not $20K. It might be 6, but not 20. That's for sure. But we also don't have natural disasters every 2 or 3 years. Here's my question: does it go down when you have a big span of window that you don't have any natural disasters? Man, that's $6K a year. With that kind of money, I'd have to be rich down there. You're lucky, Scarlett. I heard lots of companies are bailing on Florida altogether. A wildlife preserve. We do. If your house is built after 1996, it has to be a Snyder block for at least one for the at least words has to be a Snyder Snyder. See, I'm hungry and tired. It has to be a cinder block for at least the first story. Gotcha. So then what about water? How does that work? Like, okay, I'm a noob at this. Obviously, I don't live in Florida, but how do they even insure it? Because, like, okay, you have a hurricane comes. My house is gone. It's in the ocean now. What do I do now? You just going to rebuild my house for free? I mean, they're obviously going to give you an estimation of what it's worth, but what about all the stuff inside? Does that cover it? That is flood insurance. But when you have a hurricane, there's enough water there to penetrate your house, right? Stuff flies around and hits your house and opens a window. Now you got water coming in your house. Maybe I've never witnessed a hurricane, so explain to me why you got to pay $20K a year for insurance on one thing. No, that's not how it works. Okay. Again, I'm very green if you pick up what I'm putting down. I'm only 23 and I don't have my own house. I don't have insurance on everything. I've never done it. Now, would I like to learn about that stuff? Absolutely. Anything I can learn that'll help me out in the long run is great. more I save now, the better I'll be off when I'm older. But I can't see myself spending $20K on insurance for a building that I live in. Like, that's a lot of money a year just to go bye bye. And that doesn't include rent, or not rent, your mortgage, your utilities. Like, your house would have to be dirt cheap for me to be able to afford it, I think. Unless the incomes down there are just that big. Like, like if I made 50 grand up here, I would make 250 grand down there or something like that. But I can't imagine that being true. Maybe a little bit. Obviously, it's expensive to live down there. So, you got to. All right. Anyway, we're past the 2 hour mark. If anybody else has got something to explain. Nah, you don't need to worry about the alligators. They'll either eat you or they won't. 9 times out of 10, they won't. You'll be fine. All right. I will catch you all maybe Wednesday? Maybe? I don't know.
Did you just say you wasn't going live tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Ugh, gotta teach them.
I thought today was Tuesday.
All right. See y'all later. Have a good evening.